Hello everyone and welcome to the second video in the series Python for Data Science. So in the previous video we talked about what is artificial intelligence, what is machine learning, what is data science, big data and why we use Python for data science. In this video we will talk about an introduction to Python, variables and data types in Python. So Python is a high-level general purpose programming language. High level meaning it is closer to human language rather than machine code. So it is easier for people to uh, read and understand. It has a simple, readable, beginner-friendly syntax. Python was created by Guido van Rossum in 1991. It is platform independent and open source. Platform independent meaning it can run on Mac as well as Windows as well as other operating systems like Linux. Now we talk about the variables in Python. Variables are just named memory locations for storing data values. In Python, a variable is created once we assign a value to it. In other programming languages like Java and C, we have to specify the data type of the variable. We will talk about data types as well um, shortly. But in Python, we don't have to specify the data type. We can just assign the value to a variable, and the variable would be created. We can do multiple assignments. We can assign the same value to multiple variables, and we can also change the value of a variable, and the syntax to do the same has been shown. Next, we talk about the variable naming rules and conventions. So there are certain rules and conventions that have to be followed while naming our variables. So the rules have been listed. The first, I will just read out the rules now. The variable names must start with a letter or underscore, but if we talk about conventions, we do not usually start or end our variable names using an underscore. We cannot start a variable with a number, and a variable can contain letters, numbers, and underscores. Variables in Python are case sensitive, that is, an uppercase age and a variable case age are different. Next, special characters and spaces are not allowed in variables, and we should avoid using Python keywords. Keywords are reserved words in the language. For example, class, or for example, int or float. These are keywords. They are reserved and they have a special function. Next, we will talk about some naming conventions like snake case. In snake case, the variables, the words in our variable, they are separated using underscores. For example, total underscore marks is underscore valid underscore user. In camel case, the first word is in lowercase and the next word starts with capital letters. As you can see, total marks is valid user. And in Pascal case, which is just upper camel case, every word starts with a capital letter. And there is obviously cannot be a space, and we don't even use an underscore. Next, we talk about the basic data types in Python. First, we have Boolean. The representation for Boolean is bool, B-O-O-L, and the values it can take are true and false. Then we have integer, which is the set of all integers, and the representation is int. Then we have complex, which is the set of complex numbers, and the representation is complex. Then we have float, which contains floating point numbers, and the representation is float. Then lastly, we have string, which consists of a sequence of characters within quotes, and the representation is str. Next, we talk about the type function and typecasting. The type function in Python is used to check the data type of a variable or any Python object. For example, if we have variables, I have a few variables listed here. If we print, the syntax has if we type print type x, it will show us class int, meaning this is an integer variable. Print type y gives us class float, which means it is a float variable, and print type z gives us class str, which means it is a string variable. Typecasting or type conversion is basically converting a variable from one data type to another. So let's say we have, and this will only work for compatible types. So here in the examples, I have a equals int within quotes is 10. So 10 is a string. Now we can convert this to an int. We can convert, similarly, we can convert float 5. We can convert 5 to 5.0. 5 is an integer value, but 5, we have an equivalent of it in float, which would be 5.0. Then 3.14 is a float value. We can convert it to string. That is, it will be with 3.14 within quotes. So this will only work for compatible data types. Like we cannot say that I want to convert. Um, we cannot say that I want to convert true to the value true, the boolean value true to float data type. Then in that case, we will get an error. So this was it for today's video. We have covered Python variables and data types. In the next video, we will cover the Python operators.